Hey everyone, welcome to today's YouTube video where we will be discussing how to do a lead repository fetch inside of Listkit, and then we will discuss uploading that list inside of Clay and then eventually linking it to Smartlead. Let's dive right in. So we are going to be working inside of Listkit today, and Listkit, if you're unaware, is a tool that basically covers email validation as well as lead fetching. So we're going to be inside of Listkit, and it's kind of a really nice UI, and it's pretty different than a lot of others. And I'll kind of explain here in a second. But they have this whole, I guess you could say, they have this whole analytics view that is completely unique to the software. I haven't seen any other lead repository software have this. And so I'll get into that in a second. So anyway, we are going to be using or fetching a list of chief information security officers for a cybersecurity client that we are working with. So we will start in the companies tab first, and we will add industries. So under industries, we are going to be working primarily in the tech space and the financial services space. So we also will be working in the healthcare and life sciences space. Okay, so let's do technology first. And so we're going to do information technology. Technology again. Let's see here. What about information? I know there's a bunch of these. Okay, so information services, information, and okay. So we're just like basically picking a bunch of industries that we want to narrow our focus around. So this first search is going to be for technology people. And then we'll do separate lists for the other segments that they want to go after as well. The reason why we're not doing it all together is because we want to have a very clean way of speaking to each one of these ideal customer profiles. So these are the industries. I think there's a couple other conditions that we'd want to add here, primarily just like the number of employees. So we're going to want to say the 200 to 500 to 1,000. Yep, 200 to 1,000. So at this point, let's see, I think that's pretty much all that we usually add here. I think country would just say United States, just to kind of make this a little bit easier for us. So first we do the company, right? And next we go into people. So let's go to people. We're only looking for emails. Let's do a condition, and we are going to do job titles. So this one, you can do exact or contains, but honestly, we really like to do contains because it's kind of a catch-all. You can also do contains in like an exclude fashion as well, which is really nice. So I'll kind of show you what that looks like here in a second. But okay, so we're going to start, like I said, we're going after chief uh, information security officers. So someone who has that. CISO, we're going to have head of technology. We're going to have or I'll just say vice president of technology. We want to basically get all of these guys. VP of technology. We want to get director of IT, director of technology. Okay, great. So we have these guys. Let's see, what's our list looking like? Okay, so very niche. Okay, so here are my thoughts. Normally we're gonna add like more conditions in here, right? Like we're probably also gonna say that we want these people to be United States. Great. Okay, so now it's even less people, right? So okay, I know I just said that I don't want, I want this to be very niche so that way we can speak to them appropriately. We can, however, make up for that personalization using Clay and AI enrichment and make this list a little bigger, because obviously this is a super small list of people, and it is quite frankly too small for me to seriously want to go after. So let's add more industries because I really want this list to be at least 1,000, right? Like we need at least 1,000 people in this list. So let's go in and actually add more of those industries that we were looking at. So I am going to pull this up. Okay, so it's on my other screen here. Okay, so search. We are going to look at financial services. So that might go up a decent bit. We'll keep an eye up here. Yes, so it just went up 700 people, so that's great. And I imagine these ones are going to have a little bit more emphasis. I mean, watch this. We're going to say healthcare. This or health, maybe. Let's just say health. Okay, so health and human services. Yep. Um, that didn't go up as much as I expected. So let's do another one. Let's say hospitals and healthcare. One of these is a gold mine, right? These guys. Okay, great. Let's just see what else comes up here. Health, retail health. Okay, we don't need that. We don't need that. We really just want to target like bigger corporations, right? Like that's what we want. Um, Next is government. So let's throw in government here real quick. Government administration, and that's going to go up a lot. Governments and relations services, that'll probably go up a lot. Um, And honestly, now I'm feeling pretty good. So now let's get into why I really like this tool for lead fetching. And it's primarily because of this data visualization tool. So when we select this section, we're able to see exactly what this list is comprised of, which I found that in Apollo and other softwares, it is incredibly confusing and you actually end up wasting a lot of your credits on just like not the right ICP. And so that's why we're making such a big deal about this now. So going back in here and, we can see the general layout of our audience here. The keywords stats, we're not going to mess with too much. If we were really focused on keywords, I'd want to, take a look here. But since we're kind of going after a broad range of industries and a broad number of total employees, I want to make sure that we kind of keep this like just pretty refined right now. So I'm gonna throw in like a two max people per company too, because directors and DPs potentially that's gonna be who we're gonna be going after. And if I hadn't put in what makes this really nice too is I didn't like add anything here that I didn't want, but if we wanted to exclude any of these, we totally could. So that would have been the nice part about it. But since I put in the United States and I was already pretty like niche with like what we were putting in here, we didn't actually have to use any of that excluding functionality. So now I'm basically ready to export these guys as leads. Now, right now, I only have like 1,900 credits. Um, I'm debating on if I should re-up real quick and then grab everyone. I think that's what I'm going to do. But we'll just get started. There's a good chance that a lot of these are not going to be validated, and so because they're not going to be validated, we're going to end up spending less credits than what I have anyway. So I'm just going to put in 1905, and we'll just see if that works. So I'm going to redeem credits. That way we can continue on with the video. So let me hit redeem credits. And this is going to process. So as this is processing, I'm going to actually dive into Clay now and kind of explain how we're going to place the CSV inside of Clay. So we'll go to order history and we will wait for this to download. This is going to take probably about 5 minutes, maybe less. So now we're inside of Clay. Now let me explain why we're using Clay. If we go into one of our campaigns, for example, you can see that we have a list that is imported. So all of these are just text files or URLs. So this is just like visualizing the list that we're getting, right, from the CSV. And we're getting all of this information from Listkit. But what's really nice about this whole process is whenever we do enrichments. So this is the first enrichment that we do, and it's called enrich person from profile. So we're just saying, hey, Clay, here's this person's LinkedIn. Can you run it and grab or can you run an enrichment that grabs their summary or their about section on their LinkedIn? Once you do that, can you place it inside of this table? And so we can see right here that it has found, basically it's just grabbing their about section. So as you can see, every single one of these contacts has their about section. And if they don't have their about section, then it is blank. And so that'll be important for us later on. So after we get that summary, you're probably wondering, like, why is that important? Well, we use AI to write the first sentence of our email. So most of our emails are templatized, but this small amount of personalization actually really helps with open rates and click-through rates and actual replies, right? So when we go into this column, we're asking ChatGPT to generate text, and we're giving it this very specific prompt that says something like, tell me what this person's job focus is based off of their LinkedIn profile. Here is their LinkedIn profile input. And I'm basically just saying, like, backslash, here is the column that each one of these contacts summaries is in. So I'm telling ChatGPT that, and that's why, and it can dynamically run this request on each one of these lines, and it will retrieve that for each line and then use it in its own equation. Now, after that, I say, write a one sentence summary of their job focus in under 10 to 15 words. So I'm being very specific. I'm like, don't go whimsical on me. Like, just give me a very straightforward answer. And then I say, start each sentence with, I noticed on your LinkedIn profile, it seems like you were responsible for, and that's it. And then what I like to add for context, I say, like, you're writing the first sentence of a casual email, and and then I say this too. So I say, make sure that their summary is at least 15 words or longer. If it's not, do not run this this equation, because I don't want to waste credits, number one, but then number two, I it's most likely not going to retrieve like a really good answer, right? So from there, we're able to get our job focused response. Now, you may be wondering, like, what's going to happen to this person who doesn't have their summary here? Well, this is a formula row, and basically I'm able to say, hey, if there's a job focused response, which is from the AI generated response, then return that. Otherwise, say this, which is, I checked out company name, which is grabbing from another column inside of here, and it's saying, I'm impressed with the digital strategy. And that's it. And then once I, run this for however number of leads there are, then I would come through here and I do one more enrichment, which would be, hey, I want to add these leads to a Smartlead campaign. And so that's a simple enrichment that you can do after you connect your API, or I think it's like your webhook from Smartlead to Clay, then you're able to do this. And all you have to do is just match the inputs appropriately. So it'd be your email address with the business email, first name, last name, the website's the company URL, et cetera, et cetera. And the one very last but very important piece is that any of your enrichments that you want to bring into Smartlead, particularly speaking on AI generated for sentence, we want to make sure we create a custom field and map that field appropriately to the job focused response, which is this field right here. That way it's grabbing any of the formulas. It's grabbing any of the ones that pass the formula, or um, or it's grabbing any of the ones that triggered the formula, I guess I should be saying. And then from there, it would just run the automation and add it to the campaign. So let's go back real quick. I know Listkit is probably done now, so let's just do this refresh. And as you can see, it's complete. I'm just gonna, well, I'll label that later. That way, keep anonymity in here. And as you can see, we grabbed 1,300 rows. So it didn't matter that we added or re-upped our credits, because this, like I said, already validates emails for you using triple validation. So it's using multiple different email validating softwares on the back end. So I don't have to do it. And it's just easier for me to run this kind of automation. So I'm going to download this as a CSV. And then and I apologize, I was not sharing the screen. So I am on Listkit here. You can see 1,300 verified records. And like I said, not every email that was in that list is going to be validated. Therefore, I'm not going to have to pay for it. So I downloaded it in this spot. It gave me a CSV. Now I'm going to go back inside of Clay, and I'm going to create a new table. I'm just going to duplicate this table. So let's duplicate the one that I like a lot. So, or the one that has like the automations that I want to use, and make sure that none of, I think this is good. I think it grabbed everything great. So I didn't even have to worry about um, my records being synced and then running again. I was a little worried about that, but you don't have to do that if you duplicate your table like this. So I'm just going to say cybersecurity client. That way I just kind of keep it anonymous for now. And I'll just do that. And we will, before we do anything, I just want to make sure that we are able to sync these into our Smartlead campaign. So I'm going to go into Smartlead now. So I'm clicking into here. I'm going to share this tab real quick. And now we're in Smartlead. So I'm going to create a campaign real quick. And like I said, I'm going to label it cybersecurity client campaign. And don't worry about any of this. We're not importing any of this stuff because these leads will be grabbed from Clay via the API. So now, and I'm also not going to be handling any of the copy on this video, but we'll have another video that basically walks through email sequence copy and how we write it and why we write it the way we do, and finishing up like the setup of the campaign in the final review. So I'm just going to click save and next. So this is actually created, and that way we can sync leads into this campaign. So save and next, continue. I guess it just keeps doing that. So I'm going to hit, I think it will create. Okay, cool. So it went through. All right, so at this point, now we're ready to go back into Clay and upload our CSV. So I'm going to click import, and then I'm going to say import people from the CSV, grab the file, and I'm just grabbing it now, and it is going to upload pretty quickly because it's only about 1,300. And the first row contains column names. Great. Continue. And it will, what's really beautiful about this is that since we use Listkit, we don't use any other lead repository fetching softwares, then all of our CSV columns pretty much always map appropriately. So we never have to like really check this. But since it's for a client, I'm going to check real quick and make sure that it went through correctly. But usually this is never a problem. And most of this information we don't use, like at least right now in our email messaging, we kind of keep it pretty specific based off of why we're reaching out. So we're not like doing any crazy city matching and using that to enrich the profile even more and make it localized. Like we're not doing any of that right now. So for some clients we would, but not in this case. And I'm just going to add this, and I'm not going to run the automation yet. And I'll explain why in a second. But I'm going to say save and don't run. I just want to see this get in here real quick. There's going to be about like 1,300 rows that gets in here. So it's going to take a sec. I want to make sure I have enough credits to do this. So I should actually have a perfect amount of credits to run this automation on this video. So let me just confirm everything is good. Cool. So now I'm just going to run it. So at this point, I'm going to delete these real quick. These like top 3 rows that have nothing in them. Delete rows. Cool. So full name. Okay. And then let's just scroll over real quick. Make sure this is in a LinkedIn URL format. If these are not in URLs, you are actually not going to be able to run a lot of these enrichment sequences. We also need to, and this is why actually I wanted to change this. So we need to remap these. So let's just, let me explain how. So when you just click into it, you just click LinkedIn. Perfect. And we'll say save. And we will run this for, let me just fix everything real quick. So we're not running anything yet. This is where the output will go. This is what this means. This is basically like an output field. And then job focus, let me just edit this column real quick. And we need to change this one and say slash, and then it will be summary. I like to do this. It looked like nothing had changed, but I like to do this just to make sure that we are not having any columned like equations running and charging us credits, right? Because Clay is a little bit expensive. We want to make sure we're not wasting our credits. So I'm making sure that everything is good here. Tell me person's job focus based off their LinkedIn profile. Here's a LinkedIn profile input, write 1 sentence. Summary of their job focus in 10 to 15 words. Start each with, I noticed in your LinkedIn profile, it seems like you're responsible for. Boom. You're writing the first sentence of a casual email. If we say sales, so I like to A/B tested this, and if I say sales, it comes across as very aggressive. For some reason, the AI likes to just be aggressive about this stuff. So we'll just leave it as casual, and that's usually never been a problem. This still has the summary, has to be at least 15 characters long. Great. Um, and okay, so now we're going to save and run for 10 rows just to, or actually, hold on, save and don't run. Almost done, I promise. And then last is we're just going to edit this column. This column is actually really important. So we want to make sure that we change the campaign. So cybersecurity client campaign is where we want these leads to actually go. And then let me just remove all these to make sure, again, like we're not placing any of this information. Um, and I like to call this AI first generated sentence. So that's fine. No conditionals here. Okay, so email address, this is going to be business email. First name is first name. We don't really use the last name, but we'll grab it because in case we ever do for this campaign, we'll want it. Company URL is going to be this one. And personal LinkedIn. We don't ever really use this, but again, we might as well grab it. Company name, obviously I'm going to grab company name. And then first sentence, so this is the really important one, is we want to grab this job focus response. We don't want to grab the job focus because if the run condition is not met, it will say run condition not met, and we don't want our emails to say that. We want to use the formula. So job focus response. We'll say save and don't run, and then I actually just want to check this formula one last time, make sure that this looks correct. And I believe it does. And even if it doesn't, we can fix it because this column does not use any credits. Great. So now it's time to run. So we will run this column, we'll run this column. So basically what's really nice about this is we have this thing on that says auto update columns enabled for this table. So if I just run this singular column, then everything else will run inside of the clay table. And just as a heads up, this is going to take like 10 minutes. And so I'm going to wrap the video up after I click run here. We're going to run for all of them. Actually, we'll run for 10 so that I can showcase exactly what happens. And then I will just do it after the video. So we're enriching 10. As you can see, everything is like populating here. This is how fast it happens. And that's why I like to be careful when I do this. But it looks like we had quite a few of these leads not have a summary, which is very interesting. But everything is fine because we have this formula in place. So as you can see on the ones that say run condition not met, it says, I checked out Eisenhower Health and I'm impressed with your data. Okay, so obviously we want to change that because this is for a cybersecurity client. But so let me actually change that real quick. I checked out and think and would love to connect. Something like that. We'll say that for now. It's because the client we're working with, they're offering virtual CISO services, and we want to make sure that they are getting a conversation with their ideal customer profile. These are obviously big businesses, so we're not able to just sell to them. We have to get a conversation started, and that's what makes it so B2B, right? That's what B2B marketing is, and this is, in my eyes, a sense of marketing. So as you can see, these guys were added to the campaign, and then anyone that was just updated here, it says existing lead updated. That's how fast this basically runs. And so let's go back into Smartlead real quick. If we click into the cybersecurity client campaign, we'll be able to see the leads, which I believe it probably shows. Yeah. So we had 16 actions happen here, but really there should only be like 10 leads in here. So if we go into final review, I think, or it might not allow us to. Okay. Well, there's 10 leads in here. As you can see, these API fired 16 times, but it's because 5 of them, I believe, or 6 of them were updated after the fact. But after that, I mean, the next video in this series, if we do that video, is going to be basically talking through how we're piecing together the sequence, how we're using spin tags to not get flagged by the ESP, why we're using that AI generated first sentence to make sure that we are not getting flagged by the ESP, as well as personalizing every single email. how we're able to include text underneath the signature, how we're setting up and how we dictate how many emails should be sent every single day, and the strategies behind the emails that we're sending, as well as diving into probably subsequences and setting up webhooks that will send Slack responses whenever we get a Slack response to our client whenever that he gets a response from his emails. So with that being said, we're going to be finishing up here with this video. Hopefully you found this video enjoyable. If you did, please be sure to leave a like. I think these softwares are really cutting edge right now in the inbound led outbound space, I should say. And it's only getting more popular. And this is becoming more of a marketing function and less of a sales function as a result because of how personalized it is, which is really exciting and a little bit scary, but ultimately it just means better advertising for the good guys. So appreciate your time. Let me know if you have any questions by leaving them in the comments below, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.